Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat siang. Assalamualaikum. Herzlich willkommen. So for today's session, we will talk about sustainability. We have many interesting topics and many interesting people we are allowed to talk about. So having that said, I would like to invite Budita, who has a very interesting background in people development, coming from people development, and then basically also changing towards heading, let's say, a sustainability company, I would say. And so, Budita, I'm really looking forward to listen now to your presentation about sustainability and how you changed the life in Batam.
Hi, good morning all. How are you today? Good. Okay. Thank you for introducing me and to allow me to present about the circular economy practice in our company. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Dita. I'm the director of PT Free the Sea in Batam. So WIK Group is a purpose-driven company. Why we say that we are a purpose-driven company? Sorry. Can you return back to the first page? Okay. Yeah. WIK Group is a purpose-driven company. Why we are saying that we are a purpose-driven company? Because the owner of the company really have the purpose that WIK to become a key driver to transforming the most impactful human activity for our ecosystem from consumption to regeneration. And therefore is creating an economy without ecological guilt. Yeah, we are building the foundation for the future generation to develop an authentic self-esteem. So WIK site and product category, you can see here, we are actually an OEM global company that we have 3 production site around the globe. We have manufacturing company in Shenzhen, which is already 50 years old. And then we have the facility in Batam, which is already 10 years old. And we also have another factory in Macedonia, which is already 7 years old. Sorry that we need to return back to, okay. Okay, and the newcomers, we have PT Free the Sea, which is just started in 2019, also in Batam, in order to develop the circular economy. So, what is our product portfolio? So, we are producing coffee system, and then we also producing a kitchen appliance, beverage system, personal care device, component and material, and lastly, Free the Sea also producing the rescued plastic. Rescued plastic is the resin that consists of around 85 to 90% of recycled content that coming from the ecosystem. So I would like to inform you a little bit about our site in Shenzhen, China. Over there we have around 5,000 number of employees. And if you notice, we are LEED certified. In China, we are LEED silver, and we are also equipped. I don't know why the slide is keep on running. Sorry. Sorry to make you confused with the slide arrangement. Okay, yeah, for China, we have about 611 solar panel, about 611 kilowatt solar panel. And then for weak Macedonia, you can also see that we have about 350 kilowatt solar panel. So we are towards sustainability. Our factory is really concerned on sustainability, and we are also LEED Silver certification. And in weak Batam is appointed as the sustainability lighthouse across all 3 sites. So for weak Batam, we are LEED Gold certificate, and we are also powered by 1,000 kilowatt solar panel. So we are really focusing on green building, efficiency, and also we are moving toward the green process of factory. And lastly, Freedesi. Freedesi is just newly established starting from 2019, and we just recently do the grand launching. Why? Because we just wanted to get people to know about Freedesi. And the grand launching just done this year. It was launched by our beloved Ministry of Coordination, Mr. Luhut. And what is Freedesi doing? So basically, we are collecting plastic from the ecosystem, from the community. So far, we are collaborating with Bank Sampah, and we are also collaborating with school. We are collaborating also with the small aggregate. And what we do is, we recycling the plastic, the PET plastic that we collect from the community. We combine it with the waste from the electronics, and we compound a new recycle resin that we call Petraps. Yeah, so Petraps itself consists of around 85% of recycled content. And what we do next is we pass Petraps to PTWIK Far East Batam, which is our sister company that are also located nearby Freedesi. Then we transform it into a coffee maker called Dolce Gusto. I believe everyone knows Dolce Gusto, right? Yeah, so this is what we are doing. And then our other solution is we collect the carton waste from the ecosystem, and we do the repulping, and we make our packaging out of the carton waste. And the beauty of the process is we also reuse the heat waste from our die-casting process to make the pulp production. So to oven up the pulp, we use the recycle heat waste from our production process. So what is the community development doing in Freedesi? First of all, we have the collection infrastructure, we have our collection hub, and we have the mobile drop box placed in our community. We also have mobile trucks who pick up the waste from the community. And then we also have the impact program, whereby the collection waste is intensified through impact program. So we collaborate with many other companies in Batam because we understand that this is talking about a big job, and we are handling big issue about plastic waste. So therefore we need to collaborate with as many parties as possible. So what we do is we collaborate with many other companies surrounding, and we connect them with the bank sampah. So we have also educational program where we give the scholarship to the orphanage. So we support our communities, we give the education to the school, we give the jump sostek, we join them into a jump sostek program where normally the informal sector unable to do so. And beside that, we also have another program called FTS Positive. So what we are doing is collaborating with the KPHL2 Batam in order to do the mangrove restoration in Batam, whereby we got a land plot of 3.79 hectares for 30 years this year. And then we also just got the award as finalists in the Plastic Recycling Award in Europe in 2023. And we are looking for the announcement in May, on May 2023. So we are selected as top 5 of finalists on the Europe Plastic Recycling Award in Amsterdam. So other companies is Electrolux, Audi, Ford Trucks, and then also the Italian supercar. Yeah. So we are proud that PT Friedesi and then WIK Group and also Nestle, Dolce Gusto is one of the finalists. Okay, and this is my last slide. So again, we know that we cannot do everything by ourselves. So therefore, we are encouraged, each one of us. Instead of, we are too focused on blaming each other about the issue on the plastic waste, why don't we are make ourselves busy to think and to find a partner to collaborate with to solve the issue. As Jack Ma said, when there is a problem, there is also an opportunity behind the problem. So we are collaboration with Panbil Group, with BSOA, Real Estate Indonesia, Adupi, Philips, RAI, TDK, Epson, Bank Mandiri, Schneider, Amtek in Batam. What we do is we encourage them to collect as many plastic waste as possible right from the source, from their dormitory, from their canteen, from their employee, directly from the source. So after that, they can pass their plastic waste to the bank sampah. As you know, if you has already been pretty long in Batam, as you know that bank sampah actually exists as name, but as an activity, they are somehow a little bit sleeping. So therefore, what we do is we are collaborating with some companies in Batam, and we connect them into bank sampah so the company can do the CSR project without spending a money, because they can donate their plastic waste into the community and give the real impact to the community. And by doing so, their CSR project can be excellent. And as you know that also Epson got the President Director Award because of this activity, and Schneider also get the attention, yeah, because of this CSR activity. So we can do simple things, but it is meaningful. So the change start from each one of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I think what is interesting as an information, maybe also for some of us being raised and growing up in Germany, sometimes we are unaware of the sheer size of Indonesia, stretching from west to east. That would be the same distance as Berlin to Tehran.
Exactly, yeah.
So it is quite big. Now, if you have such a big country, and you see so many things happening in the country at the same time, what did inspire the WIK group and Free the Sea in the end? What did inspire you to start this journey? Because if you start, it seems more or less impossible.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, the reason why Free the Sea exists is because our owner went to Raja Ampat back in 2019. So he went diving. Unfortunately, instead of seeing the beauty of Indonesia, he saw the plastic waste floating around. So at that time, he was so sad. And he went back to Batam and he asked me personally at that time to brought him to the dirtiest place in Batam. After that, I brought him to some area, some dirtiest area in Batam, and he was so shocked. He was so sad. And he asked me to call up a meeting with all the management team. And then we did a brainstorming at that time. And actually initially he wants to donate certain amount of money to try to reduce the issue there. But after the brainstorming session, we found out that donation means nothing. So therefore, we need to do something about it. And therefore, after the long brainstorming process, and after going through a lot of trial and error, we try, we fail, we try again, we fail again, and we try again. And finally, we found out a way on how to bring the plastic waste return back to the coffee maker. And this is where the story started.
Thank you very much. Thanks. What was the biggest challenges that you faced on this journey? Because it sounds now it was a huge, large-scale topic. Mm-hmm. But what were the things that maybe also went wrong or where you faced like big challenges?
Our big challenge is, because of Batam, Indonesia itself is pretty big, right? So if talking about the waste in Batam, we may not have enough material supply soon. So we may need to get the material supply from other part of Indonesia. But the issue that we are facing is mostly about the shipping costs.
So basically the transport the material and the effect then that you have.
Yeah.
Did you see, you said there were some very dirty areas. Raja Ampat is like a world-renowned diving area.
Yes, true.
But if you see Batam itself, and you said there were some corners where nobody wanted to be, basically. But it was faced, which is great, I think. Did you see any positive impacts through these actions that you are doing?
Yeah, as what I mentioned before, when there is a challenge, there always be an opportunity, right? So, we see that the beauty of the story then reveal because of the challenge that we are facing. Yeah.
But do you see like really that the areas that you talked about are getting cleaned up or getting cleaner? Do you see a direct impact?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There is also the direct impact that we can see already. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the talk. And I saw that a lot of your factories are basically using solar panels, trying to come to a carbon neutral energy source. And that actually would bring me directly to our next speaker, Baba Fadli, who started as a field engineer, also very interesting, especially if you see when he's coming on stage. Because I'm reading now the CV you would basically expect of a older guy. He was working as a field engineer, spending many days. We just had a talk, 55 days on oil rigs. So really hands-on guy. Then was a chief of staff and the commissioner, and is now working at Pertamina as director of strategic planning and business development. So please welcome with me, Pak Fadli. So please, Pak Fadli, if you can say a couple of words about the journey of Pertamina. And Pertamina, for those who are unaware, is, let's say, the big player on the energy sector. And there's no way around Pertamina if you are in Indonesia. So if you can maybe say a couple of words, because this company will have a great impact for Indonesia.
Sure. If I may sit, Dr. Lamin is trying to conserve some of energy during this holy month. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful event. I'm actually speaking on behalf of our CEO, Bu Nika Widiawati. She sends warmest regards to all of you. Dr. Amin, you rightly mentioned that Pertamina is one of, if not the most important company in Indonesia. What people know about Pertamina is that we are given a mandate to serve the people of Indonesia, 280 million, on the energy needs. We are being mandated to making sure that the energy security of the people of Indonesia is fulfilled, right? And of course, we are the largest company in Indonesia, covering, the archipelago of Indonesia, from the north west to the southeast, with all our infrastructure, land, sea, and everything, right? So that is what people know of Indonesia. What people may not know of Pertamina is that we've been taking sustainability issue very seriously. Since back in 2018, we tried to prepare about this, energy transition, sustainability. What people may not know of Pertamina is that we're actually number 2 in terms of sustainability ratings, the ESG rating globally, right? In the category of integrated oil and gas category. So this is what we need to help people to understand, that Pertamina is moving towards sustainability and trying to making sure that the energy security of Indonesia is fulfilled despite the energy transition era and all these issues that becoming a challenge towards us, right? We have also achieved significant emission reductions since 2021 versus 2010. We have reduced emissions quite significantly, around 30%, through several and significant activities such as non-routine emissions reductions, energy efficiencies, as well as low carbon power and the use of low carbon heat. So these are the things that maybe people do not know of Pertamina. So yes, on the one hand, we're trying to make sure that the energy security of Indonesia is fulfilled, but on the other hand, we're trying to make sure that it is sustained, going forward. Now, Pertamina also have a very aspirational net zero strategy, which leads to our sustainability. It's built by 2 pillars. The first one is to decarbonize the existing business, and the second one is building new businesses towards all these green as well as sustainability aspects, such as biofuels, clean hydrogen, renewables, battery, EV, carbon capture, and carbon solutions. So these are the two prongs that we're pushing towards in Pertamina. Just want to give you a little bit of highlight in terms of several of the new businesses, such as the biofuels. We have been supplying biodiesel, for example, to the 280 million people of population of Indonesia. Last year was accounted for around 11 billion liters of biodiesel that we have supplied. We have also launched new sustainable aviation fuel, new HVO fuel, and we are building the green refineries across Indonesia as well to make sure that all these biofuels is fulfilled. The needs for biofuel is fulfilled, and significant capital investment is also put in on this aspect. Right? In fact, starting from this year, the target for biofuel is increased, and the percentage for the bio in the biofuel is increased from 30% to 35%, and we are on the way to 40%. So that's on biofuel. The second one is energy of the future. This is something that I love to talk about. On one hand, it was a dream, and then now it's starting to becoming a reality, right? So it's really lovely to be part of this journey. Now, what we are doing right now is we're building at least five clean hydrogen plants across Indonesia, not only from the source of solar, wind, which is quite common, but also from geothermal, right? Because Indonesia is blessed with huge, vast geothermal resources, 24 to 28 gigawatt, and then we're only utilizing so far 8% of it, right? And Pertamina is the largest geothermal producer in Indonesia, accounting for 70% of total Indonesia productions. So this is something that we're very proud of, and then we're quite, it's becoming our strength point. And we are working together with the likes of TEPCO and JERA from Japan to build clean hydrogen from geothermal, and Keppel and Chevron on the other belt of Sumatra, as you can see from your right-hand side. On the conventional, I would say, renewable sources for clean hydrogen, such as solar, we're working together with Semcorp and Pondera to build that. So that's the energy of the future that we're working on, and as an example. Now, in terms of renewable, as I mentioned earlier, Indonesia is blessed with renewable potential. You can, solar, we're only utilizing 0.1% up until now. Wind as well, it's around 0.1%. Geothermal, hydro, less than 10%. So there are a lot of room for improvements, right? And the lovely thing is that, with our infrastructure as a company, again, from end to end of Indonesia, we are able to build some of the places, at least within the internal of Pertamina itself, right? So this is what we are focusing on, how we can actually making sure that our business is becoming greener, right? All across of Indonesia. And some of the examples that I can give to you is that these are the pictures of all of our facilities that is installed solar panels, including of our gas stations. We have 6,500 plus gas stations across Indonesia, and then we have installed solar panel on more than 300 of it, and then it's still ongoing so far, right? So that's what we're doing in terms of the renewables. And lastly, but also equally important, is carbon sink, right? We still need the fossil fuel energy, unfortunately. So while we're still putting some investments on it, and making sure that, again, our mandate to making sure the fulfillment of energy security of the people of Indonesia, we need to reduce the emissions, right? There are several ways Two ways that we are pushing on, at least at this point of time, is carbon capture, utilization, and storage, as well as second one is the nature-based solutions, right? So for the CCS, CCUS, we're working together with multinational companies from the US, Japan, so on and so forth. For the nature-based solutions, right now we're working together with the other state-owned enterprise from Indonesia. The name is Perhutani. They hold 59 concessions, forest concessions. We are working on the 9 concessions of it. Right, it's around 700,000 hectares and can produce up to 10 million credits a year. Right, so these are the combinations of the carbon sink effort that we're doing. So that's it for me, Dr. Lamin, for now. And again, to wrap it up, people may know Pertamina as one of the largest companies to serve the population of Indonesia, but we are also making sure that not only the needs for energy security of the current existing population or generation is fulfilled, but also for the future generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Fadli. I think you showed us very well how big Pertamina is and what they're actually doing, which is profound in the portfolio. Now, Siemens is also a company that has end-to-end portfolio, basically, and we are very much, let's say, integrated also in Indonesia in the energy grid. Now, when we talk about PV, when we talk about wind, when we talk about especially those two, they have peaks. They are very dynamic. They go up, they go down. But to stabilize a grid, we basically need some sort of rotating mass. You already said that geothermal, for sure, is one of the big pluses that Indonesia has. But also a lot is talked, especially here in Hannover, about hydrogen and to be the future energy carrier, let's say, for future generations. How do you see hydrogen within, or the hydrogen business within Pertamina? Is there development that you see in hydrogen, and what is the role or what are the challenges for Pertamina also to develop this completely new business, new for everyone, I have to say?
Yeah, sure. So you know that Pertamina is currently not only the producer but also the consumer of hydrogen, right? We consume our own hydrogen for our refinery units, but it's coming from gray products. So we are currently producing that. But again, if we talk about clean hydrogen, it's going to be one of the main pillars of Pertamina's future product, right? And I can assure you that because we are committed to put in billions of investments on clean hydrogen. And as you can see, the commitment for renewable sustainability is around 50 to 60 billion, and half of it will be going to hydrogen. And what we're doing right now is to build in several locations, not only in our current existing business, such as the geothermal activities, but also we're trying to find lands that is suitable to make sure that we can produce from outside of our existing products or facilities.
Thank you very much. Then Pertamina is, as per my understanding, the roots are very clearly on fossil fuels, let's say. That was the roots. Now we see that Pertamina is developing more into a very sustainable green company, already ranking at number 2, which is quite impressive. If you talk about, and you made a short excursion on this one, on biofuels or bio-based fuels, what are your ideas there? You talked about one partnership you already have. What are your plans there, and how do you see? You said you want to go from 35 to 40% maybe soon, but what are your plans, and how do you see which role Indonesia is playing in these plans of bio-based fuels?
So there are several biofuel products, Dr. Lam. The first one is definitely the biodiesel, where we are working together and in collaboration with the other palm oil companies as well as the association. It's been successful so far, and that's the reason why the government is actually pushing us to increase the bio aspect within the fuel itself, right? Initially, we wanted to become B100, but apparently, we have to take it slowly due to the commodity prices that is quite uncertain. So that's number one. Number two, to make sure that this demand is fulfilled, we're planning to build some of these green refineries, right? And the capacity is quite significant as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's around 3,000 barrels per day for each of the locations, which can fulfill 50% of the needs of the biofuels in the future. That's number two. And number three, we're in the lights of this development of biofuel technology, we are also launching new products such as Pertamina RD. It's HVO based biofuel that was used in Grand Prix of Formula E in Jakarta last year, for example, right? We have also successfully tested bioafter, right, sustainable after fuel within our own flights, for example, right? So those are the three things that we're pushing on biofuel.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to touch, let's say, one topic, and we saw this topic in Europe, pretty heavy, I think. Energy prices were skyrocketing after Russia, basically. We had this topic with Russia and the Ukraine. Prices were going insane on the energy market, but we also saw that there's only a certain amount of increase a community or a society can handle. So also we were forced basically to use all means necessary to keep us warm in wintertime and to keep the price stable, let's say, at a certain point. Now we talk a lot about innovation, about sustainability, but what are your thoughts on the topic of the growing population in Indonesia, which is doing great? I think economically Indonesia is on the rise. How can we stabilize this, or how do you plan to stabilize this, and what role does fossil fuel play in this stabilization process?
It's a significant role still. So if I'm not speaking on behalf of the government of Indonesia, but if we looked into the energy mix plan that the government has, around 40 to 50% actually is still coming from fossil fuel based resources, right? The other 50 to 60% is coming from renewable and clean, such as gas, right? So it's going to still be significant, and that's the reason why, because we understand that fossil fuel is still needed, but then in the lights of making sure that not only we provide the affordable, accessible, available resources, but also acceptable resource, we are building businesses such as the clean carbon capture storage and nature-based solutions, right, to offset the carbon emissions to capture and offset the carbon emissions that is produced in the fossil fuel resources.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this. I'm also speaking now as more as an engineer that I am, not as the CEO of Siemens Indonesia. When I see this, especially on fossil fuels, etc., I think there's one point we need to address is the optimization of what we had. So the efficiency increase, if it's fossil or non-fossil fuels. But I think there's one topic that we all need to address, which is the efficiency increase. So how can we increase the efficiencies of our companies, of the consumption in our companies, no matter where the energy is coming from? So that would be also interesting, maybe one word, on are there any programs within Pertamina on how you can increase the efficiency in factories, in your locations? Are there any plans on this?
Oh yeah, definitely. The data that I provided speaks for itself, right? We reduced the emissions for 30%. 15% is coming. 50% of it is coming from the energy efficiencies. Some of the programs that we're doing is such as the steam preservations within the facility, flare gas, for example, utilization. So on and so forth, right? So there are a lot of things that we're doing to making sure that we're using the energy efficiently in our facilities, and the program is still ongoing. Simple stuff like changing the light bulbs, right, of LED. One of the facility in Pertamina is an upstream facility. It's a large one. We have 17,000 houses, for example. Now, we're making sure that they're using energy efficient products, right? As simple as that. Secondly, other products, not only in the operation facilities, but also in the housings and buildings. Yeah. So these are the things that we keep pushing on. And another significant one that is incoming is we are scanning all the unused power plants. These are some of them are majority are old power plants, 30, 35, 40 years, for example. It's highly inefficient, right? And this is what we're trying to ensure is to rejuvenate them, making sure that they're becoming highly efficient facilities.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your talks and your topics basically that you presented. I see that Pertamina is highly self-motivated. But just to get to the next point is that sometimes maybe we will need regulations. We will need standards to come to the next level and to take everyone with us on the journey. And being on this topic, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Papa Sri. Also very interesting background. He has a very scientific and also at the same time very practical background in material engineering, studied in Japan, and is now the director of the Center of Formulation and Standardization in Indonesia. Welcome on stage, Dr. Sri. Hello, pleasure, sir. Please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lamin. I will start. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all of you, distinguished moderator, speaker, and all participants. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present the presentation in this event. First of all, let us give thanks to God for His grace that we can gather at the event of Indonesia partner country Hannover Messe 2023 in good health. I will deliver material with the following content. First is economic performance in industrial sector in 2022. Second, Indonesia leadership on sustainability. And third, policy direction on green industry. Fourth, circular economy implementation on Indonesia manufacturing sector. And last, investment and collaboration opportunities to accelerate the implementation of green industry in Indonesia. Indonesia manufacturing sector contributes to more than 60% of our national GDP, a significantly high level by global standard. The manufacturing sector serves as the main driver of national economic growth in 2022. Based on data, the manufacturing sector greatly contributes to Indonesia's economic growth, with a growth of 5% 0.01% in 2022. The manufacturing industry contributes 60.48% to our GDP. 28.7% contribution to government tax revenue and 67% to non-oil and gas export. Further, the manufacturing industry absorbs around 90.11 million workers until August 2022, an increase 465,000 workers compared to the previous year. Last year, around 37.91% investment in Indonesia came from manufacturing industry. The number indicates that the manufacturing industry in the backbone for our economic growth and for our sustainability transformation as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia demonstrates a constructive contribution and strategic role in advancing stability and sustainable development at the regional and global levels. Indonesia leadership, including through the G20 presidency in 2022 and Southeast Asian countries ASEAN as a chair in this year 2023. Indonesia leadership at the regional and global level will continue to strengthen it through strategically manage its assets, namely among other for biodiversity, continuously advancing human resources, a strong democracy, and no less important is economic sustainability. Climate change is a major threat to global living. To tackle this issue, we need solidarity, partnership, cooperation, and collaboration. We need to create carbon economy ecosystem that are transparent, integrity, inclusive, and fair to make a sustainable solution. Dealing with the climate change issues, green economy or low carbon economy, Ministry of Industry of Indonesia promotes green industry as one of the solutions. We believe the implementation of green industry will give positive impact on the competitiveness of the industry at a global level. Green industries to address several issues, particularly for resource efficiency and cleaner production, green product and green procurement, decarbonization and energy transition, water conservation, circular waste management, economy implementation, and increasing green jobs. Further, we developing several flagship program or initiatives such as education and campaign, promoting electric mobility both for passenger and goods transportation, green industry standard and certification, development of the domestic capability to producing renewable energy machinery, promoting green logistic and eco-industrial parks, electrification and digitalization, initiate machinery restructuring with low carbon and energy efficient technology. Ladies and gentlemen, next I will present the circular economy implementation in industrial sector. One of the national program related to the green industry is implementation of circular economy. The Indonesian government is committed to implementing circular economy as an economic model that optimizes the use of resources, designs product to be as efficient as possible, and return the rest of the production into the production cycle. Ministry of Industry of Indonesia identified 10 sectors which are very potential to be developed as focus are for circular economy implementation. For instance, plastic, electronic, paper, food and beverage. The study shows with the implementation of circular economy, we have potential capability to increase gross domestic product by 593 until 628 trillion rupiah by 2030, creating annual household saving of nearly 9% of the budget, equivalent to 4.9 million rupiah or 344 US dollar per year, and create 4.4 million jobs with 75% of them for women. The implementation of circular economy in Indonesia can also reduce CO2 emission by 126 million tons and water usage by 6.3 billion cubic meter in 2030. For example, two sectors, namely the plastic industry and the paper industry. The paper industry that implemented circular economy absorbed around 2.4 million tons of waste paper and generate as much as 6 new investment companies. For the plastic industry, circular economy implementation will provide more than 3 million jobs for the community. Ladies and gentlemen, circular economy transformation is not only initiated by government, but also by our private company. Food and beverage industry already have a solid collaboration platform through various collaboration, namely Indonesian National Plastic Action Partnership, Plastic Recycling Association for Indonesia Sustainable Environment, and Sustainable Business Movement. This condition makes our effort to boost circular economy implementation easier and going smoothly, because all of the stakeholders supportive, collaborative, open-minded, and inclusive. Meeting climate ambition will require a massive increase in private investment. Achieving NDCs in the energy transition and e-mobility, for instance, require an estimate annual 23.6 US dollar billion. From this explanation, mobilizing Indonesia financial sector and international capital flows will be crucial. Sustainable finance can help achieve climate, circular economy, and clean energy goal. Aware of this challenge, Indonesia is already taking steps to develop and align its financial system with the Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals. In 2015, Indonesia's Financial Services Authority launched the Sustainable Finance Roadmap in a bid to encourage the integration of environmental, social, and governance consideration into investment or financing decision and spur financial innovation for low carbon opportunities. And now is in the phase 2 that started at 2021 and finished at 2025. Following through, we also have types of sustainable activities such as energy efficiency, clean transportation, renewable energy, waste management, green building, green product, and so on. So, we invite all esteemed friends and colleagues to come and invest for sustainable business in Indonesia. Distinguished participants, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully my material can provide you a new insight and new information. I would like to thank you for your time and attention today. Thank you very much for interest and attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Basri, thank you very much for your presentation. You touched the topic of investment, but let's say first we should go into the competitiveness. So if you talk about the competitiveness of the industrial sector, what are the biggest challenges to boost this competitiveness?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lamin. Many studies show that Indonesia has several challenges toward competitiveness such as productivity, regulation, and infrastructure. But in last year, our government made positive progress. For instance, we boost significantly our infrastructure development across the country. Further, we also adopt digitalization and Industry 4.0 to increase our productivity and resource efficiency. The last, we take progressive action on harmonize our regulation through omnibus law. So we try the best to provide good investment and innovation ambient for the business actor, both domestic and for foreigner as well.
Thank you. And you talked about investment, so we should invest in Indonesia. Where do you see the benefits if people make investments in the industrial sector in Indonesia? What are the things that Indonesia can provide that maybe are hard for other countries?
Okay, thank you. At least, yeah, there are 4 benefits of investing for manufacturing in Indonesia. First, we have young and growing labor force. Yeah, Indonesia has population of around 265 million with average age 29.7 years old. Yeah. The population will continue to increase and the country will have the 5th biggest population globally by 2030. At the same time, we see a high urbanization rate as young people move to bigger cities for job opportunities. Around 165 million are part of the workforce and that will continue to grow. And then second, growing domestic market. Foreign companies also Indonesia growing middle class which will grow significantly in the coming years. It's predicted that the middle class will increase by as many as 75 million people from 2020 until 2030. And then the low labor cost. Yeah, Indonesia has the lowest labor cost in Southeast Asia, even outperforming Vietnam. Yeah, while Vietnam has labor costs that are 1/3 of China's, Indonesia has labor costs are around 1/5 compared to in China. And then the last is natural resources. Yeah. The global economy is plagued by uncertainty and investment is the key to its recovery. To raise the nation economy, the government of Indonesia is currently promoting the downstreaming of natural resources concrete steps to stop export of raw material like nickel, tin and copper were diverted to utilization by domestic industries, such as providing battery for electric vehicle. This has positive impact where export of product derived from nickel have increased from 3.3 billion US dollar 2017 to 20.9 billion US dollar 2021. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I might add one. I was before at Siemens. I was responsible for factories, starting there as line managers and then leading the medium and low voltage switchgear factories worldwide. And I have to say that the craftsmanship in Indonesia is outstanding. This is something that sometimes people forget. The people are very precise in their work, not only artwork, but also industrial work. So I might add this one point in the list. I was really impressed with the craftsmanship of the people. They're really doing just a good job, you know, like technically just a good job. Thank you very much. On the slides, and I will make one question for you and then maybe one question for the group. The slides were mentioning circular economy again. And if we see Indonesia and the government, the present government especially, but maybe then also the governments that will follow in the future, how serious is this topic, circular economy, for Indonesia?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lemin. The government has set a new target to cut emission level by 31.89% on its own, or 43.2% with international support by 2030. That is more ambitious than its Paris Agreement pledge, which was to cut emission by 29% or 41% with international help. We also already published national roadmap for climate action and net zero emission by 2060 or sooner at COP 27 Egypt in 2022. Regarding climate action policy, there are 5 drivers. First, regulation, market access, incentive or facilitation, collaboration and investment. Recently, we are in progress to make a science-based policy approach for those all 5 aspects.
Thank you very much. Now, when you had the chance maybe to also visit the Siemens booth in Hall 9, you see basically that there is a portfolio reaching from designing the product. In this case, it's batteries, and I would like to stick with that question on batteries. From designing the battery, manufacturing the battery, and then what you maybe don't know in the background, there was long discussions if we also should show the recycling part of batteries, which is, in my eyes, something that will hit us at one point. So maybe a question to you, if we talk about electrical mobility, if we talk about energy storage in batteries, what is your opinion in the role of Indonesia when it comes to the recycling maybe of these energy cells? Maybe if you have an opinion, especially as you are, Dr. Dieter, as you are coming from the recycling part, but then maybe also you, Dr. Fadli, if you have any opinion on this topic of batteries and their recycling.
Yeah, since Indonesia has the biggest population and of course the market is also widely open, right? So I think Indonesia also is a very potential country to be the recycling factory, to build a recycling factory in Indonesia also. When there is a problem, always there is an opportunity behind it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think aligned with Budita, that we will play an important role, especially recycling is a very critical part of the value chain, right? Um, and then again, we only have resource as much. So in Pertamina itself, I can only speak on behalf of Pertamina, right? We're pushing on the end-to-end battery ecosystem development, and that's the reason why we actually have Indonesia Battery Corporation as one of our subsidiary company, not only producing from upstream um, until midstream, but also supporting in the recycling aspect. Because again, we will use a lot of batteries not only as a battery as a energy storage, but also for the mobility, especially, right? Um, and mobility is an important aspect as well because there are 130 million of two-wheelers, for example, um, wandering around in the streets of Indonesia. 20 million plus of 4+ wheelers wandering around in the streets of Indonesia, and then it's adding every single year, right? We sell around 7 million electric vehicles, for example, of two-wheelers, the two-wheelers every year, as well as around 1 million of four-wheelers every year, right? So it will keep just adding up. So yeah, it will play a very important role. We will play a very important role, even though we have large nickel, cobalt, mangan resources. But again, we only have that much.
Thank you very much. See, exactly the same way, simply because you have all the upstream capabilities. That's the reason why I think also the recycling, I think that would very well connect. So really looking forward to support also Indonesia on this journey, especially on the battery part. Will be very interesting journey, I think, for all sides to learn a lot. Having that said, thank you very much to all three of you. Thank you very much for investing your time and sharing your knowledge on the topic. Having that said, I would end the session for today. And again, thank you very much for coming. We also have something small, I see.
Thank you, nice. Thank you, Budita. Ada sedikit ini.